Welcome to another FPVguy video. I am Lorentzen, the FPVguy, and today I'm going to be showing you the new DYS 230 video drone. On the front here, let me give you a look at it. It says full 1080p video camera. It says camera tilt adjustable, and it says remote range over 1,000 meters. That's a lot of range, and quite frankly, I wouldn't recommend flying that far, but it does say it's able to do that. Finally, it says it's got colorful signal lights. That means we've got colored lights. So let's crack the box open and see what's inside. If I turn this around, on top here we have a manual. We're just going to flip it open really quickly. Introduction, disclaimer, what to do, what not to do. Like, don't take this in the bathtub, you know, all those kind of stuff. In here is a walkthrough of the radio and a walkthrough of the batteries, how to set up, how much battery is left, what the lights means. So, number one thing you really need to do, read the manual. You'll probably see sometimes when you post a question online, somebody say RTFM. That stands for read the freaking manual. So read the manual before you ask on the internet. It's here for that reason. Next, let's remove the foam on top. Underneath, we find a somewhat Phantom-inspired remote control. It's actually very, very nice and very comfortable to work with. Right here on the top, you will see that there is a channel indicator and a channel changer. This radio actually has a 5.8 video receiver built in. And on the back side, you're gonna see that it has a video out. I don't know if you can see the text, but it says video out right there. It also has a DC in for 12 volts to charge it. And finally, you have a USB plug so you can connect to a screen or a smartphone. And right there you have it, the most important part of this kit. Of course, the little mini quad, and unlike a Phantom that is about 350 size, this one is only 230 millimeters. That is 230 millimeters from that motor to that motor shaft. So that's how you measure multirotors. It has an asymmetric set of arms here. That's because the battery kind of goes in the center and it pushes the camera out in front so that you don't see the propellers when you fly. On the side here, you'll see there's an SD card slot. There's also a USB plug for the camera and a reset for when you get something wrong and need to reset it. Up on top right here, you can see here's again our channel display, and there's a toggle switch right here that will toggle you through the video channels. So let's get the rest of the stuff out and then carry it back on with this. To go with the little mini quad, there is a 3S 2200 milliamp battery, which is a one-touch on-off operation, kind of like we see on a lot of modern multirotors. Naturally, where there's a battery, there's also a charger. And here is the charger. Take a look at this little thing. It also, of course, comes with a cable. The cable is right here. You'll recognize the plug, and the plug fits directly in on the back here. I expect you have many of these cables in your household. It's one of those things that I keep saying they could probably ship it without the cable, but if they did, we probably would run out of these cables really quickly. On the front end, you will see they're actually taking a page out of Unix playbook, because look at that little adapter. That is a balance tap, and here is the battery. So the balance tap literally goes in right here, just like that. Now the battery is hooked up, and it's hooked up on this. It's a lithium battery, and this offers the ability to charge 3 different types of batteries. We are gonna use the lithium, that's the green one. So once it's plugged in, what you wanna do is push the green button once. That's gonna get you a solid green light. And then push it one more time, and now the green light is gonna start blinking. When the green light is blinking, that means it's charging. Once it becomes solid, you'll finish charging the battery. That's gonna take you about 30 to 40 minutes with a battery like this. Also in the kit, we get a couple of stickers. Those are red and blue stickers to put on the arms so that you can make the front arms red, the rear arms blue, or something similar so that it's easier to tell the direction of this aircraft. However, I don't really use the stickers. I prefer to use color-coded propellers. Let me show you. Nowadays you can't buy a multi-rotor without propellers being included. So of course this one also comes with a couple of sets of 50-45 propellers. These are pretty much ready to go, and I like to use 2 orange and 2 green to color coordinate the multi-rotor in the air so I can see what's going on. Let me just grab the little plastic bag here. Here is the international charge plug and also the little lug nuts for the propellers. Finally, we find a little Allen wrench. That is the Allen wrench you need to unscrew or attach stuff to the quad. So let's put some propellers on this little thing. The first thing I'm going to show you though is I did a quick test and I found out that Valkyra's Runner 250 props will fit right on. You can basically do like that and they fit perfectly on the shaft, and they're obviously a 5mm shaft. Now the problem is they're a little bit too long. I did try to fly with them and it flies perfect. But as you can see right here, I got a little bit of a black scuff mark because the prop was running into the aircraft. So if you do that, trim them, bullnose them, and they'll be perfect, and then you have twist-on props. Now moving on to the included props from the kit, let's go ahead and put these on. I'm gonna grab a box here so you can see the quad better. And I'm gonna grab a prop. This one here is forward and it swings in. Remember, these things pretty much always scoops in and the rear scoops back. So the front comes around like this, and we need a prop that goes that way. There we go, that's one of those. And we're gonna put one over here on the other side as well. To go with the propellers, let's take a look at the little lug nuts here. You will see that the lug nuts are color-coded. The white ones go with the counterclockwise propellers and the black ones goes with the clockwise propellers. So let's grab a white one and twist it down right here. Now, using little separate nuts are kind of becoming an old-fashioned style. That is why I was experimenting with using a twist-on prop. Now we're gonna put a couple of red propellers like these ones. So we're gonna put a couple of these in the tail end. I usually call those tail feathers because that way I can easily see what direction the aircraft is facing when it is up in the air. Again, we put a black one on the clockwise turning propeller and a white one on the counterclockwise turning propeller. Now to lock them down, I use a little Allen wrench, and remember there was one included in the kit. You just basically put it in through the little hole on top of the propeller, on top of the little spinner, and tighten it down so you know it's not going to come undone. There we go. Now it's safe to fly. The next thing we're going to do, grab the battery. And the battery goes in the back here. You can see the spade connector in here, the 2 big blades. And here's the connector right here. So this slides right in there. Just like that. And now we're ready. Now, of course, to record video, we're going to need a memory card. So we're going to use a little SD card, or rather a micro SD card. I'm going to grab this out of the adapter, and we're going to take the aircraft and put this into the little slot on the side of the aircraft. And that's not that easy. I'm going to turn around and we'll push it from this side. There, it clicked. So you just got to get the right angle on your fingernail and this is going to work. Alrighty. Before we start the aircraft, what we're going to do is turn on the radio. We always want the radio ready before the aircraft starts. So to turn it on, we're going to simply just push the power button, and we're going to keep holding down until we see the light coming on. And there you go. We have got light. It looks like we got 2 bars left on the power indicator, and it looks like we're currently using channel E3. We can change that with the channel selector over here. If we do that, we also need to change the channel on the aircraft. Now, to fly this, the far left switch here is the flight mode switch. When it's in the bottom position, it is in rate mode. So if you're not used to rate mode, make sure you switch this up towards you. So up, 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 up. That's gonna make sure you're in stabilize mode. Here you have the photo You can see the little camera, that is the photo button, and then the red dot is the start video button. On the other side here you have playback, so you can actually play back on the screen through the 5.8 video and see what you just shot. I wouldn't recommend doing that because you are busy flying. Now, let's put this down and we are gonna pick this up and turn it on. Here is the 1, 2, 3, 4 bars of power. On top here is what we're gonna do is hit it one time quickly. There, and then push again and hold down. And now you saw the power coming up. Now we can put it down and we have got power. Let's check out some of the features. On the front, you have the little articulated front camera. You can see it right there. And on the back of the radio, you see this little doohickey right here, this arm. By moving that, the camera moves. How cool is that? So what that really means is when you're flying fast forward, if I turn this, you can see it. So if you're flying fast forward, normally your aircraft may be in this position. That means you're looking down and it's hard to see. So by moving this switch, now I'm tilting the camera up, and when I'm flying fast forward, my camera is still looking straight forward. So that's brilliant. In the same way, we can, up here on the corner, we can push the button to start our video recording. Talking about video, let's grab a screen. This little thing is from the View XL1 goggle, video goggle. I'm just gonna turn it on, and here is our video. Let me turn that so you can see it on the detail camera. The one thing we do realize is we have our hand here. Notice that the time it takes from my finger to move from up to down, there's quite a lot of lag. That's because it's a recording camera that is then reformatting the video and sending it in the downlink. So I wouldn't be trying to fly goggles with this at low proximity. That would have unhappy endings. But it does have a live video downlink, which is very convenient. You can see the black bars here. That is because the camera is a 1080p camera, but it's trimming it in because 1080p is not as tall as the video we use for FPV. That's where the black goggles come from. By the way, here's a convenient little feature. If I push the video button and look in the bottom of the screen, you're now gonna see a blinking red dot and a timer showing you how much time you've been recording. So that's a very convenient little feature. You can see what you're recording. Let me stop that again. So before we move on, let's turn this off and pop the battery out and wrap up the review. To turn it off, what I need to do here is put my finger on, push it one, and then push it down. And I'm keep holding it down. You can see how it's blinking here. And we're turned off. The next thing I need to do is push this button here. You see that little push down button? I push that down and I push out. Frankly, it is very hard to get out, and I was using a spoon and putting the stem down here to push it out. Now the fancy little battery here brings me to another little issue. It's a 3S 2200 milliamp, but it's in a custom housing. And after Googling around a little bit on the internet, I haven't been able to find a spare battery. I'm sure they eventually will be available, but right now you're stuck with one. So here's the solution. A regular 3S 2200 milliamp CP battery and a XT60 pigtail. Basically, I would just simply take the two spade connectors here, strip the wiring off this old pigtail and attach the pigtail to the connectors so that it would be sitting right down here, something like that. Maybe hot glue it to the bottom right here. And all that's left to do is drop my battery in and plug it into my newly homemade connector right here. So that is what I need. Only thing left to do now is to put a block of foam in here and maybe a strap of Velcro or a big rubber band between the arms to keep the battery from sliding out. Now, remember, I was reading from the box that it says 1080p. 1080p is actually a broadcast definition. It's a definition for HD. And for some reason, some people confuse it and think anything more than 640 pixels is HD and should be called 1080p. That's not so. And let me show you, here's a JPEG from this one. I shot that out in the desert. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see the details better. And quite frankly, that JPEG is not very impressive. I'm gonna put that on my blog so you can take a look at it in person. And let's move on to some video. Here's a bit of video. First of all, there is a ton of jello. I'm gonna come back to that. But take a look at the details. And again, I'm gonna zoom in. So now if you look at the details and the leaves here, you can see they're really muddy. This is not 1080p video. It's not even 720p. It's crap video. I'm sorry, guys. There is no better definition for that. It's not HD. Now, that doesn't mean that the camera might not be able to do it. What it does mean is the camera is over-compressing like crazy and just compressing all the details out of this video. It's a really bad idea, and I wish drone manufacturers would stop thinking of cameras as an afterthought, because as consumers, frankly, we buy these drones to get acceptable, passable video quality, and low-res video scaled up to 1080p is not acceptable in 2016. It ain't that simple. Now, as you know, I'm a big Fat Shark video goggle fan and like to fly FPV. This one said FPV on the box. So the first thing I did, of course, was put my goggles on and try to find the video on my goggles. Unfortunately, I was not able to. So basically, this aircraft is not Fat Shark goggle compatible. That's not the end of the world, because it turns out it is Bosscam compatible. And you can see I got the video here. Also, the receiver has a video out, so I could run a video cable from the receiver to my goggles and have video. Now, it's a 200mm transmitter. So this transmitter is not capable of reaching the promised 1,000 meters. I would say this aircraft should be flown somewhere between 300 and 500 meters the most. That's perfectly okay. So now one of my other favorite little features is the tilting camera using the little arm on the back of this thing. Let me show you again. Here it goes. Look at that. Isn't that just amazingly cool? I really like that feature. Now here's the part I don't like. So if I flew over the pool at my vacation place and I'm sitting in the hot tub, I'm not able to look down 45 degrees and get a cool selfie flying around in a circle. Why not? What were they thinking when they didn't make this camera look down? I'm just asking because it's such a great idea, it's just not finished. Okay, to wrapping up the camera, remember I showed you the video with the jello. Now you're looking at it now, you can't miss it. So I came back and I was like going, this can't be right. I checked the propellers, I rebalanced the propellers just a bit, and I tried it again in the driveway. But I'm sorry to say, I got jello again. Look at those vibrating lines. This is not passable. Then I realized, I took a closer look at the mounting here. The camera has some play, so it can literally slide right and left a little bit. But there is no rubber mounting. It's hard mounted to the aircraft, meaning any little vibration here goes directly to the camera. It's not like a soft mount that dampens anything. So that kind of kills the entire use of recording video with this for anything other than flight video. And as we know, there was a bit of delay on the flight video. Well, I can't really wrap this up without drawing a conclusion. And like I told you, when Frank from carolinadrones.com sent this to me, I was very excited because I feel this form factor and this shape very much is going to be the future of small multirotors and consumer category multirotors. We'll probably see this kind of shape even smaller than this. So I feel this is definitely, we're looking at some part of the future here. But here's the problem. The manufacturer's price point at about $450 simply misses the point because the camera is not particularly good. It can only look up, and it comes with a battery that I cannot readily get more of, but I can easily fix that. I'm not so keen on having loose nuts for propellers in 2016, and I quite frankly am almost at a point where I demand twist-on self-locking propellers. It's just easier and it's safer, because you can't get them halfway loose. Once you start flying, they're going to lock themselves down. You know I like this, and I like the form factor, and I think this has a lot of future in it. I'm pretty sure Frank at carolinadrones.com agrees with my assessment of this quad, and I know he bought up stock. However, after we started checking this out, we both kind of felt it wasn't quite what we had hoped for. And if you like the form factor here, which is really kind of cool, and I like the very cool controller, I would head off to carolinadrones.com and shoot an email to Frank and ask him what he can do price point on this one for you. So go check it out. In the meantime, we got more multi-rotors coming for review, and make sure you subscribe, because I'm also heading off to CES next week, and we're gonna have some more videos coming up of new products from CES over the next week. So stay tuned, subscribe, and thank you for watching. And I can't forget, Stephanie in Colorado, thank you for watching. So this is a cool little plastic aircraft. Damn.